So you're looking at either Catalina Foothills or Oro Valley to purchase your next home in, but you don't know which one. This video should hopefully give you more insight and the next steps as to working with us in case that's what you would like to do. I'm a real estate agent, Garced. Book a call directly with one of the links below. That's going to take you to schedule a call over Zoom. Make sure all the buying parties are there. We're going to go over exactly what your intake form was, it would be a good fit, and what the next steps are to start the home buying process. I do this all day, every day. I freaking love it, and my team and I are here to serve. This video in general is going to cover the following topics in this order. The background, and no, I'm not talking about what year the city was established, because honestly, my clients don't really care, so I'm presuming that you don't either. You just want to know, is this area for you? So the overall background of it, of both Catalina Foothills and Oro Valley, amenities that are nearby in the Foothills and Oro Valley, property values, the type of homes that you can expect, and the property taxes. And in case you have no idea, where is Catalina Foothills? Where is Oro Valley? What is Allie talking about? Let me show you on the map right now. So I am in Tucson. Here we go. And we're looking at northern Tucson. So both Catalina Foothills, which I'm circling over here, as well as Oro Valley, they're both North Tucson. So you're going to be closer to Phoenix, which is up here. And you're overall going to be closer to the mountain. And of course, the summit is Mount Lemmon. Super, super nice in case you want to get away. So it is going to be closer to that. Depending on if you purchase a home in Catalina Foothills or if you end up purchasing in Oro Valley, you're going to have a different view of each. So typically, if you're in Tucson, you always know which direction you're going, because if you're looking at the mountains, that means you're headed north. But if you're in Oro Valley, you won't be looking north and seeing the mountains. You'll be looking east and seeing the mountains. So as I do a zoom in, I want to point out to you just the different zip codes, because sometimes my clients like to focus on just zip codes instead of a general area, which sometimes has spillover, which I'm going to talk to you about here shortly. They just want to focus on, they like this area. They know this is the zip code. That's the zip code that they want to narrow down in on. So in case you're the same way, I'm going to go over the zip codes right now. So Catalina Foothills, in case you're looking at that, all of Tucson will have spillover. There will be a zip code that may apply to this area and, a second area. Some people will think a certain area or neighborhood is bigger or smaller. And this is even within Tucson locals, by the way. Fun fact, if you're to ask a Tucson local, what is considered East Tucson or where does West Tucson start, you're going to get different answers from everyone. So for example, on the map here, the area that I'm circling now, sometimes this is considered Catalina Foothills, but sometimes it's not. It really depends on the map that you're looking at. For example, on zipdatamaps.com, you'll see that Catalina Foothills, they're very, very liberal with what they're calling the foothills, because some areas like Zillow or other websites will not show this eastern portion as being considered the actual foothills. You can see here on Zillow that it does not cover that eastern portion. They do not consider east of Craycraft Road, that's this road right here. They don't consider east of that as the Catalina Foothills. So I'm going to focus on this area specifically. So the zip code for Catalina Foothills, it is 85718. That is this area over here. And we will not be talking so much on this video about this zip code, which is just to the east, which is 85750. Now, even though the homes are kind of similar, sometimes this area is considered the foothills, sometimes it's not, really depends on who you ask. We're covering the actual Catalina Foothills as well as Oro Valley. So again, Catalina Foothills zip code 85718. It's the portion not highlighted on the screen because, as you can tell, this is 85750, which is, in this case, not the foothills. So when we're looking at Oro Valley, the zip codes there, we're looking at 85704 on the southern part of Oro Valley. We're also looking at 85737. And if we're looking at the more northern part of Oro Valley, we're going to be looking additionally at the zip code 85755. So now I want to show you on a side-by-side comparison based off of the US Census or data.census.gov website. Not my opinion, this is information that's already public and out there. Catalina Foothills, we're looking on the left-hand side. Oro Valley, we're looking on the right side. We're going to look at the population first. So population is about the same. The foothills is sometimes a little bit bigger, again, depending on what map you're looking at. So that may come into play where the population shows a tiny bit bigger, 52,000 people in the foothills compared to 47,000 people in Oro Valley. But this information is from 2020, so it's already almost 5 years old. However, there hasn't been anything drastic within the last 4 or 5 years directly affecting only Oro Valley or only the foothills. So keep that in mind. It's going to have grown since then pretty much equally throughout both. When we're looking at income and poverty, the median household for both is over 6 figures. In the foothills, we're looking at $110,000, almost $111,000 for a median income in 2022. And for Oro Valley, we're looking at just over $101,000, also from 2022. Again, already almost 3 years old. 70% of people in the foothills have their bachelor's degree or higher, compared to 56% in Oro Valley, 52% employment rate for Catalina compared to 46% in Oro Valley. There are roughly the same amount of available housing in both areas. And you can take a look here at the rest of the information too as I continue scrolling along. So age and sex, the median age in the foothills is 55, which is almost the same thing. It's 54 in Oro, which as you can tell is older than the rest of the state. And I think that's because there's a lot of major universities in Arizona. So we're looking at, that skews information a lot. Here's some ancestry data in case you're curious about that. Again, this is data.census.gov, so you can also search. You can find a lot of good statistics out there too. Languages spoken at home, that's pretty cool. Now, this next website is datausa.io. This is another good website for you to look at. I'll be giving you a couple of other websites to go to for your own research as well. Because as you know by now, if you've watched my videos, you know that I cannot answer a lot of the questions that you guys ask. And that's because I'm a realtor. So I am held to a higher level of ethical standard where if I were to say, talk about demographics or, you know, there's such thing as blockbusting and redlining and steering. So I cannot say good or bad about any specific neighborhood because what I consider good is likely not what you consider good. So realistically, you wouldn't want a stranger to tell you, oh, this is a good area or this is a bad area because we just have different definitions. So I hope that makes sense. I explain this in every video and I feel like I should explain it here too. So that's why I always tell people these are the websites to go to so that way you feel comfortable. It's not about me. I'm not living in the house. I'm not purchasing. I'm here to help you negotiate the best damn deal ever. But it's up to you to decide what is safe and what is a good neighborhood for you. So I like telling my clients and giving them the education so that way they know exactly where to look to get those questions answered. So datausa.io as well. So it gives you a little bit of history there, a little bit of more information, but we're looking at the same thing as far as the population. It's going to be about the same as the website that we just looked at. Goes into citizenship rates, population diversity. Here we go. We have Catalina Foothills on the left again and Oro Valley on the right. Foreign-born population, so that's pretty cool there. And now we're looking at the economy. So as we can tell here, Catalina Foothills, it employs 22, almost 23,000 people. Again, I think that's because of the boundary where some people consider Catalina Foothills, Catalina Foothills, and some people say, no, that's not the foothills anymore. And compared to Oro Valley, which employs around 18,000, both have a lot of healthcare. That's typically going to be number one. There's also education, profession on the left-hand side for Catalina Foothills. On the right-hand side for Oro Valley, we're looking at manufacturing, education, utility. Because it's so close together, and I'm talking like depending on what part of the foothills and what part of Oro Valley, you're right next door. A lot of this is going to trickle over and be the same. In the median earnings by industry, we're looking at 88,000 on Catalina and 69,000 for Oro Valley. And what Oro Valley has on this website that the Catalina Foothills do not have as far as data goes is this 2020 election results. So I find that pretty interesting that it's kind of neck and neck. And that is pretty reflective for all of Arizona, definitely the bigger Tucson area, that it is pretty neck and neck. And as we scroll down toward rent versus own, Catalina Foothills, 74% of the people own their home, Oro Valley, 76%. And they both have 69% of owners that still have a mortgage. In other videos, in case you haven't seen my other videos yet, I do have videos on exactly how to shred your mortgage in record time. I'm talking months or years instead of decades. I personally have done it on one of my properties and I'm telling all my clients about this. I do give my clients a discount on the shred method. It is a program, but overall, it ends up being just math. You're just switching. Instead of paying the compounding interest of a mortgage, you're paying the simple interest of a line of credit and chef's kiss to get rid of these mortgages fast. So it's really nice. Overall, for answering what's the vibe like of Catalina Foothills and Oro Valley, they're kind of the same. They're very, very similar. Again, they bleed right into each other. So we're going to be looking at homes that aren't exactly older. You know, if you're for Tucson, a lot of the older homes, the historic homes are in central, like downtown-ish Tucson. And as we're looking northern, so Catalina Foothills, Oro Valley, Casas, Adobes, which I've done a whole nother video on, we are looking at homes that are a little bit more new. And when I'm talking about more new, I'm talking 1970 and newer. Overall, in northern Tucson, you have a better view because you're higher in elevation because you're that much closer to the base of Mount Lemmon. So not only do you have better views, but I personally think the traffic is much better there. Overall, you know my opinion on traffic. I do not think Tucson has bad traffic at all. Anybody that thinks that Tucson has bad traffic has not traveled enough and has not stepped out of the country enough. So Tucson, you're looking at pretty good traffic. I mean, again, I'm working with clients that are coming from, a lot of them are coming from out of state, but many are coming from out of country. So when they move to Tucson, traffic is not a big deal. So let's start going into the amenities of each. Starting with hospitals, there is a hospital in Oro Valley that is called the Oro Valley Hospital. And if you're looking at Catalina, we're looking at Banner University. Banner has a ton of hospitals all over Northwest, Southeast, Central, downtown, everywhere. And overall, as you can tell on this map, there are more choices in the foothills instead of Oro Valley. So Oro Valley just has that Oro Valley Hospital. There are, urgent cares all over the place too, throughout Tucson. But as far as hospitals go, we're looking at more choices in the foothills. We have Banner Health. We have the University of Arizona, University Medical Center. And for urgent cares, there's the Oro Valley Urgent Care, just that one that's showing. There are 2 in Casas, Adobes. And then for Catalina Foothills, we have Banner Urgent Care, Next Care. I don't think that's really considered the foothills, but we're looking at closer to central Tucson for urgent care. Now, a lot of you, like a lot of people, have pets, so let's look up some vets. For vets, again, here we go. We're looking at, this is Oro Valley in case you forgot. We're looking at a couple here in southern Oro Valley. And then for the foothills, we're looking at 2 on the west-hand side, 1 that technically is not considered, whatever you want to call it. Oh, look, that's a cavy. I have a cavy as well, and I love him. So we're looking at about the same results when it comes to vets. Let's look at grocery stores. In case you are the type that still goes into a grocery store, we're looking at a Safeway, a Fry's. Those are the names of our grocery stores in Tucson. So at least 2 in central Oro Valley, a little bit north Oro Valley. We have a Safeway down in southern Oro Valley, a Fry's in Casas, Adobes. And for the foothills, let's zoom in a little bit more in here. So the Fry's in Catalina Foothills, another Fry's, again, getting closer to central Tucson as opposed to it being the actual foothills. For the actual foothills and Oro Valley, especially the foothills, it's mainly residential and we're looking at a bunch of different resorts. You're not going to see a ton of commercial within Catalina Foothills. I think Catalina Foothills has a little bit more of a residential feel and also a resort feel since there are a bunch of resorts in there. Oro Valley will have a little bit more of a sense of commercial. So as you can tell here, with the grocery stores, like these are within shopping malls with a little bit of some other variety too. You're not gonna quite get that sense in the foothills. Now, while both are upscale living, I think that the Catalina Foothills has a little bit more of a getaway vibe, of a peaceful, like tranquil vibe, as opposed to Oro Valley. Oro Valley is almost like a tiny town of its own, even though it's big, it's long, north-south. The actual activity is closer, I'm talking commercial, is closer to residential. So you might not even need to leave Oro Valley, unlike the Catalina Foothills, where if you were the type to go in person to go shopping for clothes or groceries, you would have to take a little bit of a drive, to get to the grocery store and come back. There's definitely more of that separation between, let's do an activity and then let's go back home. I hope I'm making sense. Now let's start looking at properties and then taxes. So first, I'm just going to show you on Zillow here. People use it a lot, and even though it can be very behind, sometimes 24, 48 hours behind, I'm going to show you on here just because it's majority of what people know. We're going to be looking specifically at Catalina Foothills properties first, and even though the prices vary even within the foothills alone and Oro Valley alone, it really depends on how well was that property priced, how fast, and that determines how fast it's going to sell. A lot of people that are looking at the foothills and looking at Oro Valley, they both typically like to have pools in their backyard. So I know that that is a common trend. And if you're looking at a pool in your backyard, depending on the number of bedrooms, bathrooms, and square footage that you would like, we're looking at least $700,000. With both Catalina Foothills and Oro Valley, you're looking at having more space overall. So the homes are typically bigger because you typically also get more land. If you're looking for a 4-bed, 3-bath home, which a lot of my clients are, you're looking at a minimum starting of $700,000, but mainly we're going to be looking in the $900,000 price point up to 1.2. And if you're looking for a 5-bedroom, 3-bath home, at that point, we're looking at a base of 1.6. That's the lowest right now, all the way up until $8 million homes. One of the highest price point homes right now in Catalina Foothills is a 7-bedroom home with almost 19,000 square feet, listed just shy of 13 million. But of course, that is a little bit more of an outlier. So majority of what we're looking at is going to be 1.9 to 2.1, maybe $2.45 million. Now, when we're looking at Oro Valley, if you're looking for a 3-bed, 2-bath home, you're looking at $390,000 and up. And with that price point, $390,000 to $420,000 for Oro Valley, you're going to be getting about 1,500 square feet. That tends to be pretty typical for all of Tucson. You'll find the same square footage in other HOA type communities such as Vail or Gladden Farms and Marana, etc. But if you're looking for something bigger, let's put 4-bed, 3-bath, which tends to be the new 3-bed, 2-bath. We're looking at a baseline of $490,000 and up to about $540,000. And with that, you're now going to be having a little bit more than 2,300 square feet, but that's still going to be HOA type communities. So if you do not want an HOA, you have to let me know. So that way I don't send you crap. This is a very general search right now because everybody that is watching this video has different wants, needs. So now let's change this for a 5-bedroom, 3-bath home, and we'll start looking at the price point there. We're looking at, wow, there's a $460,000, 3,000 square foot. Okay, as you can tell here in this photo, you don't get the same amount of space as you're getting in the foothills. So again, kind of similar to what I was saying before, that Oro Valley is almost like a little town of its own, kind of unlike the vibe of the foothills. If we're looking at the $400,000 price point, you are looking at an HOA. You are looking at extending your arm through your window and touching your neighbor's house. It is what it is. But if you are looking at a home that's bigger than that, where you have a little bit more space, you're looking in the $600,000 price point and above. Just by getting rid of the HOA filter here, still looking at 5-bedroom, 3-bath homes, we're looking at the minimum of $600,000, but really we're looking at $889,000, $995,000, $745,000, just to give you a sense. If we were to do the same thing, going back to Catalina Foothills, saying no HOA, for a 5-bed, 3-bath home, we are looking at $975,000, $960,000, $2.9, $1.6, and $775. But we're literally only looking at 5 homes. Now, again, a lot of people don't need 5 bedrooms. They could do 4-bed, 3-bath. So that opens up about 5 more homes on the southernmost part. Again, the more south you go in both Oro Valley and the foothills, you're looking at homes that typically have a little bit of less space, less square footage, and not as nice of views because, again, you're lowering in elevation. So you don't have the same view as the more north you go, with better stars at night, so better views of both nighttime and daytime of the rest of Tucson. Now let's talk property taxes. Going back to datausa.io, it says that the median price in 2022 for the foothills was $560, and the median price in 2022 for Oro Valley was $404. Keep in mind that there are a few apartment buildings, so there are a lot of sales that are people looking for 1-bed, 1-bath units. So that does skew into these numbers. The property taxes, of course, are going to vary home to home depending on the year built, the condition, how many times it's been sold, if the prior owner had any exemptions to their property tax. So another website that I want to leave you with, which is a really good one, is asr.pima.gov. Pima, P-I-M-A, that's the name of the county. On this website, you can search any address and look up the actual tax data. Don't rely on a third party. Instead, go to asr.pima.gov and look up the exact taxes. And if you're on Zillow, for example, here I'm sharing my screen. This is an example of one property tax that you can see. In 85718, which is Catalina Foothills, you'll see that just a random property, the taxes are $6,300, more or less. But if you go on this website right here, find assessor info on the county website, if you click this button, that takes you directly to gs.pima.gov, which is also asr.pima.gov. It's the same website, just different ways to get there. It'll give you the same information because it's the government website of the taxes. All in all, in both Catalina Foothills and Oro Valley, we're looking at taxes that are above $5,500 every year. That may be high to you, that may be low to you. It really depends on your perspective and where you're coming from. But in general, Oro Valley taxes, property taxes, tend to be a tiny bit lower than Catalina Foothills. Again, so many variables to this, but the property taxes of Catalina Foothills are a tad bit higher. If you have any specific questions that you'd like me to answer, drop it in the comments below. I may make a whole video on it if there's enough requests on it. So I'm more than happy to do that. I make these videos for you to answer your questions. If you're still undecided on which area you want to move to in Tucson and you know that you're moving to Tucson, you may want to check out this area that I have already mentioned twice, maybe 3 times now in this video, which is Casas Adobes. It's physically in that same location. So watch this video before anything else and then let me know what questions you have. I'm here to help. If you know already that you want to move to Tucson, that you're coming out here, you already have a job or you're already retired, book a call using the link below and let's get started right away.